Fractal is a Swedish company known for their PC cases and their gaming products. They utilize a minimalist Scandinavian design for their products, and you can see that echoed in their first attempt at a chair. Let's get honest. There is a lot to like about the Fractal Refine chair. This chair is absolutely beautiful with that minimalist design. It also has a high back, so it provides full support along that back, which is great, especially for my tall freak of nature friends out there. And it's got this headrest, which has a lot of give, and I think plays that ground nicely between offering support, but also being unobtrusive at the same time. It also comes with a shockingly good warranty, which proves that Fractal is willing to stand behind their product, which is something that we don't see with a lot of companies trying to get into the chair game. Looking at you, Razer. I have both the mesh version here, as well as the more premium and expensive Alcantara version. And I honestly thought that the mesh version would feel better because it would better conform to your body. However, everyone here agreed that the Alcantara does feel a little bit plushier compared to the mesh. As always, we'll break down the chair starting from the bottom, working our way up, and I'll give my thoughts as we go along. And if you decide to pick up anything in this video, please consider using the links in the description or in the YouTube shop. It really helps this channel a lot and helps keep these honest chair reviews going. Casters and legs. The legs on the Refine chair are great. They're made out of metal, they're nice and flat, and it's a great option for people who like to lift their feet up onto the legs of the chair to either swing around or just for added extra support, especially if you have short legs. Now, I usually don't make a big deal about the casters, but in this case, I feel like I do have to call it out because these casters are that kind of premium attention to detail that I expect from Fractal, and I love it. These are using hubless casters, which means that it's got a hole in the middle, and hubless casters are more premium than hub casters, the standard wheel that you see, for various reasons. I'm not gonna get into it here, but oftentimes, even on high-end chairs, we're talking $1,000 plus chairs, these hubless casters are always as an extra add-on, so you have to pay extra. But in the Fractal Refine chair, these things come standard, so it is a chef's kiss. Shout out to Fractal for including these, and it overall adds, I think, to the premium look and design of this chair. They can also lock. However, it's a pain in the ass to do so because you have to turn the chair upside down. And then under the leg here, there's this little switch. And even switching that is a huge pain because just moving that is really difficult. While I've got the chair turned upside down, there's actually a hidden feature right here, which is a like button. And if you click that, you'll become more beautiful. Also, please get subscribed. I'm really close to 100,000 subs, which means my first YouTube plaque. I really appreciate the support. Features under the chair. You might notice that these chairs kind of look like racing style gaming chairs. However, the features and functionality and customization you get on these chairs is far superior to any racing style gaming chair, which is another huge thumbs up in my book. We'll start from the left side features and then move to the right. So on the left, you get a single handle, which is right here. And this thing is going to control your back tilt limiter. So basically, if you pull this thing out like this, it's going to lock your chair in that position. And it's an infinite lock, which means that if you tilt a little bit and lock it there, it's going to lock it in that position. And it can go all the way as far back as to here. So you can see that it locks it and it doesn't come back up. I love this tilt lock in a chair like this because it's got a tall back, the headrest here makes a lot of sense for lounging and relaxing. So the fact that you can keep it tilted without having to put pressure on your legs, on your back to keep it tilted back, absolutely love it. On the right side, you get three different things here. We'll start with the front lever here. This is going to be a height adjustment to raise that chair up and down. And then you're going to have this lever right here. This thing is going to adjust your seat pan depth. So if you pull it and then scoot your hips forward, it's going to go ahead and slide that seat pan out. Now, while we're on the seat pan, I can say that when you scooch all the way back and you tilt back in this chair, you will feel the back edge of that seat. It does feel a little bit uncomfortable. However, you just need to scooch forward just a tiny bit and you'll avoid that feeling altogether. I will say that when it comes to the maximum depth of the seat pan, it's not as deep as I was hoping for because, this chair has a really tall back, which makes it a really great option for my tall freak of nature friends. However, the seat pan depth doesn't go that far out. I'm 5'6", pretty short legs, and as you can see in the maximum seat depth position, even I still have a little bit of space between the back of my knee pit and the front of the chair. So if you're super duper tall, I'm a little bit worried about how much leg support you're gonna get inside of the seat. If you get up and you pull that seat pan lever again, it'll just go ahead and snap back automatically. The final adjustment on the right side is going to be this knob. What's nice is you can pull it out, making it a lot easier to access here, and it's going to go ahead and control your back tilt tension. So if you go ahead and turn it to the right, it's going to make it harder to tilt back, and then if you go ahead and loosen it, it'll make it a lot looser. The downside of this knob is that it takes many, many turns before you start to feel a difference in the tilt tension. We're talking about 20 spins before you're feeling a noticeable difference on the amount of tension. The seat. The seat is where you start to see a noticeable difference between the Alcantara and the mesh. So the seat on the Alcantara is what I'm gonna call a medium firmness. So it's definitely a bit on the firmer side. Compared to a Secret Lab chair though, this thing is a bit softer. It also has a little bit of a bounce and it feels pretty cushy overall. One thing you're gonna notice is that the reason why Alcantara is so pricey, it's a premium chair, is because this fabric feels absolutely incredible. It feels really soft, really smooth to the touch, and it becomes really, really noticeable when you're wearing shorts and sitting on this chair. If you're wearing something that exposes the bottom of your legs, this thing feels really, really great on your skin because it's so smooth. Now, we compare that with the mesh seat. So the mesh seat, first of all, when it comes to the firmness of it, it's gonna be a bit softer, actually quite noticeably softer than the Alcantara and fabric versions, just because of the natural, mesh and bounciness of mesh. There is a cushion under the front lip here, which provides extra cushion for when you're sitting inside of the chair, and overall it feels pretty darn good. However, remember how I talked about the Alcantara and the fabric being pretty soft? The mesh here is a really, really rough mesh. When I sat on this, for some reason, the front edge here that meets that fabric, that started to scratch the bottom of my legs, even when I wasn't moving. When I was just sitting static, it began to just kind of like tickle and scratch and didn't feel that great. I can say though, that after sitting on this chair for many hours, over many days, I didn't feel any kind of legs falling asleep, cutting off a circulation, anything like that in the mesh. That obviously wasn't the case for the fabric and Alcantara as well, but just wanted to report that here. I will say though that I was really, really excited about this chair in particular, the mesh version, because they did something that I've never seen anyone do, which is these edges here, they covered it in fabric. And I was really, really excited because I thought maybe these would be soft. Maybe this would allow you to open the legs up. But I'm sad to say that no, this is just the covering and you can still feel a really hard edge. This is pretty rigid. And so if you're somebody who likes to sit kind of single leg tucked under, this isn't gonna work because that is raised up so high, it's gonna bend your ankle at an awkward angle. And the same is true for the Alcantara version as well. These side kind of bolsters, I'm not gonna really call them bolsters because they don't go as high, but these things here also angle up and they're very stiff, making it not the greatest for a single leg tucking experience. The arms. The armrests on this chair are pretty good. The arm pad itself actually has a lot of give. It's actually pretty soft and really supportive. When it comes to the functionality and features, you can raise them up and down. You can also move them forward and back, although the forward and back motion are a little too loose for my liking. You don't need to push any buttons. You can just kind of hit them out of position. And then you can move the armrests in and out using a button on the inside. And then using the button on the upper frontmost part of the armrest, you can swivel them in, middle, and out. I'm not sure if this is true for all the Alcantara versions or if it was a mistake, but the trigger that's used to slide the arm pad in and out are both found on the left side of each arm in the Alcantara version, whereas on the mesh, the triggers are both found on the inside of the arms. The backrest. The quickest way to describe the backrest on the Fractal Refine chair is that it's tall, but stiff and flat. So I got the Alcantara version first. This arrived first, and when I sat in the chair, I was surprised by how flat it was. There wasn't much of a curvature to it. There wasn't much of a shapeliness to it. The lumbar support does help create a little bit of shape in the chair, but overall it feels pretty flat. And we all thought that the mesh version was going to be better because it's mesh, right? It would conform to you. However, we all agreed that the Alcantara and the fabric versions actually offer a little bit more cushioning, a little bit more support, it feels like, for the backrest compared to the mesh version. We all agreed that the backrest of the Fractal Refine is probably its weakest point. We all preferred the backrest shape on the Ahnestly Kaiser 3. However, when I went online on Reddit to look at reviews of the Fractal Refine chair, a lot of people seem to love this kind of backrest. They said that they prefer it, some even to the Herman Miller Embody. Because of the flat nature of the backrest though, it allows you to really open up that chest and there's no annoying bolsters for your triceps to smash into. The lumbar support. The lumbar support is 1,000 times better on any racing style gaming chair. This thing is relatively easy to adjust while sitting in the chair, provided that you're not putting pressure on the backrest. You actually have to lean forward. This thing can go up and down like this, and then you can tighten it or loosen it using this knob here. And when you adjust it, those adjustments are immediately noticeable. This lumbar support does add additional shape to that backrest to get that curvature in the lower back area, but overall it still feels pretty flat. The headrest. I personally like the headrest design on the Fractal Refine. I think it's just big enough to offer support. It's got a lot of give, so it doesn't really get in the way. And then you can slide the thing up and down as well. It's also got a button here that if you decide to go with no headrest, you can push it and go ahead and release the headrest. I personally do not like headrest when I'm sitting up and doing work like this. So the fact that this thing can kind of slide up and that curvature can kind of sit in that neck area, so it's out of the way, it's not really making a ton of contact with my back of my head. I love that. I actually love using the headrest though when I'm leaned back in a chair like this. So I can go ahead and lower it down and fit it in the crook of the neck, and I can go ahead and lean my head back. And again, it offers just enough support for my head to feel and my neck to feel supported in a lean back position. I can imagine though that people not loving this headrest because they might want something bigger and beefier. But again, because this headrest can be taken out using this clip here, you can probably, or I hope, Fractal will design a bigger, beefier headrest that you can go ahead and clip in. The warranty. The warranty on this chair is actually really good, and I love that Fractal is willing to stand behind their chairs. It makes me hugely respect Fractal as a brand, and also the reason why I have no problem recommending this chair. So you get a 5-year warranty on the mechanical parts of the chair, such as the tilt, the levers, and all that stuff. And then you get a 3-year warranty on the upholstery and the coverings of the chair. That means this mesh has a 3-year warranty. That means this Alcantara here has a 3-year warranty. And I don't see many chairs, especially these gaming companies, backing up their mesh or their fabric at all. So huge respect to Fractal for doing that. Sizing and weight recommendation. Fractal recommends a maximum height of 6'7", and I'm inclined to believe them because of the tall backrest, because of this little headrest here that can go pretty high up on the chair. Just keep in mind that the maximum seat depth isn't all that deep. When it comes to the minimum height, I don't believe Fractal offers one, so I'll give my personal opinion. I'm 5'6", and when I sit on this chair, my feet are just touching the ground, so I'm gonna recommend maybe a minimum height of 5'5" if you have extra long legs. Fractal recommends a maximum weight of 275 pounds for their chair. Again, I'm inclined to believe them. This seat cushion feels really dense, again, pretty firm. However, on the mesh version, I'm always cautious when it comes to mesh, especially on chairs that aren't like Herman Miller that have the top of the tier, top of the line mesh. And I'm gonna recommend perhaps a maximum weight of about 170 pounds on this mesh. Links to everything, again, will be down below. Until next time, stay honest.